Hi guys, good morning. Welcome everyone. My name is Elena Semenek and I'm a psychologist and a life coach, and today I'm gonna talk about childhood trauma and 4 steps of childhood that every one of us went through and how it affected our life, our adult life, and the impact that we have right now when we grew up. It affected our relationship, our the way we treat other people, why we choose this partner, another partner. It affected our self-confidence and self-esteem and our level of success. And let me turn on the demo for you. So today is the second webinar before the training, Healing Childhood Trauma, Healing the Inner Child. And today we're gonna talk about where you did not get enough love, and I will tell you about 5 steps or 5 stages of a childhood. And those stages are prenatal or fetal period. And here we're going to talk about fear of being judged, fear of what others will think about me. We're going to talk about feelings of shame, the feeling that nobody understands me or nobody can ever understand me. And we're going to talk about a sense of superiority, about the mentality that I am smart and cool and others are idiot. I'm better than everybody. And here we're also going to talk about the constant stress and anxieties. Then we're going to talk about the second period, is oral period, and it's between 0 and 18 months of our life. And here we're going to touch the overweight problems, addiction, smoking, alcohol, computer games, TV series, addiction to bite something or chew gum. We're going to talk about love addiction and toxic relationship. Here we're also going to talk about unrequited love and long distance relationship. And then the third period is anal period or potty training period. And here it's all about our sex life. This period impacted our sexuality in adulthood. We're going to talk about money and anger management. And we're going to talk about the problems with money, with debts, shopaholism, sex addiction, OCD, and then anger management and nervous breakdowns. And finally, the stage number 4 is going to be about the gender identity. This period is covering between 3 to 5 years old. And here we're going to talk about healthy femininity, masculinity, adult sexuality, acceptance of your body, self-esteem, and self-confidence. And as I said earlier, this is the free webinar before we're gonna go for the deep, profound psychological training, Healing the Inner Child. And the training is gonna be for 8 weeks. It will start on October 10th and it will end on November 28th. And before that, we're gonna have 4 free self-development webinars where I'm gonna share with you all the theory, and on the training we're gonna do practical exercise. We're gonna actually heal our inner child. But before healing, I would like you to understand the theory. Why do we need to heal the inner child? And today's the second webinar. And if you missed the first one, the link is below this video. On the first webinar, I spoke about the inner child, who is the inner child, why he why he has a defensive mechanisms, how you can see and notice your inner child, which words and actions is he using in our daily life. And The training itself is going to be here on YouTube. It's going to be closed group, and it's not free, it's paid training, and at the end I will tell you a little bit more about different ways how you can participate. And it's going to be every Thursday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, Los Angeles time, and all sessions will be recorded and emailed to all participants. So if you cannot join us online, you can watch all the videos later and do all the exercises at a time convenient to you. Okay, so this is the slide from the first webinar that we had last Thursday. Obstacles to love, meeting your inner child. The link is below. And this is the slide for our third webinar, which is going to be next Thursday, and we're going to talk about overeating problems and the inner child. What is hidden behind the overeating, and I will tell you about 8 reasons why people eat more than their body needs, and actually what to do with it. How I will give you 10 advice how to stop your overeating problem. And finally, we're going to have webinar number 4. It's going to be also free, and it's going to be about personal boundaries and self-esteem. 10 reasons why it's so difficult to defend your opinion and your interest. We're going to talk about feelings of shame and guilt, and we're going to talk about why it's so difficult to share your feelings with your friends and loved ones. And if you did not sign up yet for those seminars, below under this video you can find the link, and you can click and enter your email. It's like a very short form where you should enter your name, your city, and your email address, and then you will receive an email before the next seminar with a specific link. So subscribe in order not to miss it. And if you're here, if you're watching me, please say hi. And if you're gonna watch me later in recordings, please also, send your comments below the video. Let me know where are you from. Let me know that you're watching me. And you can, if you're gonna watch this video later, then you can stop the video and write me, what do you expect from this webinar? Why this is, why did you came here, and why are you interested in this specific topic? And then you can, continue and watch this video. Your comments, your answers gives me an idea about who you are, and based on your comments and your questions, I create new webinars that will be more useful to you, and webinars that will help you to be more happier, more successful, and achieve your goals. And I do not believe in coincidence. And if you're here, then you are supposed to be here. And it means that you came here for a purpose. And I hope that you will find some answers today for questions that you might have for years. Okay, a little bit about me. If you don't know me, I am Elena Semenek, E-L-E-N-A. I am a psychologist and a life coach. I am the founder of Psychology of Happiness, where happiness is the purpose of life. This is my company, this is my YouTube channel, and I believe that everybody wants to be happy. And my mission is here to share my knowledge with you so I can help you to see how you can change your life and how you can become happier and more successful. And I've graduated as a social and political psychologist from Ural State University in Russia. And in 2005, I received a teaching degree in psychology. And within the last 15 years, I've been studying different methods of psychology, including neuro-linguistic programming, NLP, the concept of how our brain works, about our behavior patterns, thinking errors. I've studied family psychology and family constellation, the different laws between the family members, and how and why we repeat our parents' mistakes. And I've graduated from Initiation Institute from Male and Female Maturity, which studies relationship within yourself, with your partner, with your parents. And I specialize in childhood trauma. I help people to heal their traumas and to create the life that they really, really want. And today we're going to talk about 4 steps of childhood, and the first step is prenatal or fetal period. The narcissistic period is the period of that we experience when we are in our mother womb, and also it first 2-3 months after birth. Some psychologists, they do not accept the idea that there is psychology about the fetal period, and they, especially doctors, they do not believe that the period when baby is inside the mommy is affects somehow the adult's life. But I would like to tell you about this theory, and I think personally that this does affect our life. And if you don't believe in it, then consider just maybe first or second or third months of the birth. And if you have children, this is gonna help you to understand them better. And if you don't have children, you can try to remember stories that you've heard about pregnancy when your mom was pregnant with you, and those stories will help you understand your character, your belief system, and why, for example, why you might be in a constant stress or have so many anxieties in your life. Okay, so the basic child needs of this period is: I am the center of the universe. All my needs are fulfilled instantly, and everything and everyone in this world is a part of me and work for me. And this is normal. The child feels that he is a god. Any abnormalities, stress, health issues during pregnancy, and or during the first month after the birth, and such as when the fetus did not receive enough food or enough vitamins, or maybe birth trauma, or any difficulties during the birth, the child can form the belief that the world is a dangerous place. I cannot trust the world, I cannot trust anyone. At the deep level, the child experiences the feeling of deficiency, and the child might control a mechanism, which means the desire to compete, to fight with other people, to be higher, better than everybody else. So in order to achieve anything in life, this person will fight, will compete, will be angry, will be violent, and will be selfish. And this is happening because during the birth he had a trauma, and he created the belief that this world is a dangerous place. I should not and I cannot trust anyone. Every child goes through this narcissistic period, and this period is necessary for healthy self-esteem. A child should feel himself as a center of the universe, and this is gonna help him to create the feelings: yes, I can, I deserve good things, I'm capable, and this will help him to create a good self-esteem and self-confidence. But if the child went through trauma during this period, then in a worst case scenario, we're gonna have a narcissistic, selfish person who cannot trust anyone and who feel superior above all. And trauma during a narcissistic period in adulthood might reflect as a dependence on other people. What other will say about me, the desire to become one with another person, dependent relationship, a person who wants to have a friend who feels, thinks, and does the same as he. Or a woman who believes or wants to have a husband who will predict her desires, who will be a psychic and not understand her mood. We might have a person who will have constant struggles for resources, a person who will use manipulation and lies to get what he wants. We might have a person who has feelings of superiority over others, and the person will think that he has to have a better car, better house, better phone, better husband, better friends, better job, and the person will show off in order to show, everybody and himself first that he is better than other. He believes that he is better than other, and that's why he has to have the best of the best. We might have a person with a narcissistic trauma might criticize a lot other people and other people work, and it might happen in real life, so the person can actually say those words, or he might think it in his head. So it's constant comparison of himself with others. And when a narcissist can't get what he wants, he either devalue it, or his feelings of superiority changes to a feelings of insignificance. The feelings that nobody understands me, I'm nothing, the desire to hide, and then it's gonna change quickly to the feelings that I'm better than everybody else. Because a narcissistic person cannot feel shame, he cannot be in feelings that I am worse, I'm nothing, he cannot be in those feelings for a long time. So he will change back to the selfish, rude, manipulative person quickly, and again he will put himself above everybody else. And a narcissist often lives in anxiety, fears, because he or she has to analyze every situation, every small conversation. And a narcissistic is a person who always thinks what he should say in return, how he can answer in this situation, or what he was supposed to answer. So this person lives in constant anxiety, and this anxiety becomes kind of normal for him. And during the online training, 8 weeks of healing the inner child, the first week we're gonna talk about the paradise, return to paradise, return to the feelings of paradise. And we're gonna do this because the narcissistic period is extremely important, and everybody went through this period, and everybody time to time wants to be superior, right? Everybody feels that people cannot understand him, and narcissistic trauma can be deep or can be shallow, but we're gonna work on this trauma, and we're gonna do an exercise that's called the divine child, and it's gonna help us to learn and connect with our inner child. We're gonna learn how to hear our true desires. Then we're gonna do an exercise that's called a magical lake, and the symbol of a lake, the round lake, is a symbol of a mother womb. And we will return to the feelings of paradise. We're gonna fulfill our inner child with love. We're gonna give him sense of security, freedom, and happiness. So he is not gonna struggle anymore. He's not gonna suffer anymore, and he is not gonna make us fight with other people, fight with the world. And then we're gonna do an exercise, turtle, in order to learn how to relax, how to relieve the anxiety, relieve our stress, and how to feel protected by a strong turtle shell and find the secure place within. The next slide is about rage, narcissistic rage. A narcissistic rage is the uncontrollable and unexpected anger. Rage comes in many forms, but all pertain to the same thing, revenge. Because narcissistic person thinks that the world and other people is attacking him, he wants to revenge. Narcissistic rage are based on the fear that he is under attack, and this is the fear of death. And narcissistic rage is so sudden, so quick, and so big that it will endure even after the threat is gone. The root of narcissistic rage is hidden of course, in the childhood, when an infant needed something and his needs were not satisfied. He did not get enough food, did not get enough sleep, did not feel safety. Then for the infant, it's like death. So I don't have enough food, I'm gonna die. I did not sleep enough, I'm gonna die. I don't feel safety, I'm gonna die. Any infant any infant does not understand that the world is a separate part. He sees it as a part of him. So for him, it's like one part of me is attacking another part of me, and the fear of death is so big and is so deep that it leads to uncontrollable rage. He's getting angry on himself, and because the other person or the world is a part of him, so he's getting angry on the other part of him, but basically it's other people. And an infant has no sense of boundaries. Everything external is a continuation of me. My mother is a continuation of me. When a mother cannot satisfy fetus or infant's desires, for him it's like, again, one part of him is attacking another part of him. And this rage can be provoked by small things. A person begins to yell or break things, or physically he might beat another person or abuse an animal. And for example, children might be violent at school, they might bite other kids, they might leave bruises, and during another time they might be sweet, polite, and good manner, and have a good manners. And it's very hard to believe how this child could be so violent. And often a person might control himself in public, but at home he becomes a monster. And I would like to recommend you to watch the first season of Big Little Lies. This is a 7 episodes series, and pay attention to Nicole Kidman's husband. His rage is always sudden, always based on small things that normal person might not even notice. And you can also see how this algorithm, how this pattern reflects the whole family. Another example, when a person controls him almost in every situation, but when he drinks alcohol, he becomes violent. He might have a desire to rape or abuse another person. He starts fight without the reason, and the scary part is that he cannot be stopped. Nobody can stop him, and he cannot stop himself until he releases his rage. Again, the movie Big Little Lies, there are only 7 episodes, but you can see this algorithm. And if this is somehow related to you, if you are in an abusive relationship, or maybe you know someone who is in an abusive relationship, this movie is gonna be a deal breaker. You after watching this movie, you might understand that your relationship is not just you might realize that it's not just a problem, not just a regular problem, but this is a serious problem and you have to do something about it. Another example of a narcissistic rage is angry driver. I'm talking about drivers who can scream, who can create a fight, who can race another person if somebody cut him off. And this is also a fear of death. So beneath it's the fear of death. The fear is so sudden, so deep and unnoticeable. So the driver becomes angry with milliseconds. And he can jump out of his car, he can break window, he can hit another person, another driver, and he can become violent like in milliseconds. And the deepest child's fear is the fear of death. And this is the fear of being swallowed, being crushed, being strangled, and being rejected by the mother. Those fears formed during the fetal period inside the mother womb. The fetus is afraid that mother is gonna swallow him, crush him, reject him, and especially this fear is formed during the birth process, because mother has to push him in order for child to be born. And during the birth process, every one of us experienced that fear, unless you were like C-section, right? And in psychology, there is a big argument about the C-section. Some people believe that this is very good, specifically from the medical point of view, and a lot of psychologists believe that this will create a deep trauma later in adult's life. Anyway, today we're not gonna talk about that part. I just want to tell you that during the birth we all experienced a fear of death. And from one side, this is the fear of death, and from another side, this is the desire to survive, to live. And it is not possible for a child, for an infant, for a baby to escape death. Since everything external is continuation of me, this is how the baby thinks, I cannot escape from myself. The death is also part of me. And an infant wants to dissolve, want to feel nothing, and as a result, an infant might block his feelings and emotions. So if the child experienced a deep birth trauma, then he will become a narcissistic person who is gonna block his feelings, his emotions, and he is not gonna be able to feel sympathy. He will not be able to give love and receive love, because he is not capable of it. He blocked his feelings, he blocked his emotions when he was in the mother's womb, or when he was during his birth and the first few months of his life. And narcissistic people are people who know about feelings and emotions in theory, but they cannot feel it in reality. For example, if you never tried lemon, you might know that it's sour, but you cannot imagine the taste until you eat it before. So you might know that it's sour, and the people make like weird faces when they eat lemon, and you can kind of even show this emotion on your face, but you cannot sympathize, you cannot truly understand what it means to eat lemon. This is the same with a narcissistic person. And on the second week of our training, 8 weeks of healing the inner child, we're gonna talk about birth as a miracle of life. And I will offer you an amazing technique, the meditation that's called 3 Wishes by the Goldfish. And the 3 wishes are to be protected by the divine energy, to be loved, and to be happy. Then we're gonna do an exercise, My Divine Parents, and you will have an opportunity, you will go through feelings when your life is valued and when your life is important. And you're gonna experience the Divine Parents' love, who are happy, who feel joy because you are was born, because you were born, and you will receive the divine blessing to have a happy, successful life. And then we're gonna do an exercise, the divine egg, and you will go through the reborn process. You can let yourself to reborn and to see the world as a great place to live. Let it be an abundance place where there's always someone who is gonna protect you. And today I would like to talk to you about Sigmund Freud. And a lot of people call him Uncle Freud, and in Russia we call him Grandpa Freud. I don't know why, but American people call him Uncle Freud, Russian people call him Grandpa Freud. And if you ask, if I ask you or any group to name the most famous psychologist, the majority will say his name. And Sigmund Freud was born on May 6, 1856, in a Jewish family. And he spent most of his life in Vienna, Austria. And then he escaped to London and died in London on September 23rd, 1939. It was the beginning of World War II, and Nazis began to occupy the area where he lived. And he was a celebrity in his time. People recognized him on the street, and he had huge ambitions. He was often dishonest, extremely brutal to his friends, and terrible to his enemies. But he was a genius. And he was the founder, the father of psychoanalysis, which is one of the biggest branches of psychology. Freud was the first who said that our unconscious motives control our behavior. Not us, not our brain, not our mind. Our unconscious mind controls our behavior. And psychoanalysis is a method of treating people through dialogue between a patient and a therapist. And he was the father, the founder of this method. And he was extremely brutal, and he was a genius. And at the same time, people hate him for his views and his theory. He is known not for one theory, but for several theories that he brought to the world of psychology. And some theories are terrific, and some received many criticism. And one of the most criticized theory is the theory of penis envy. And according to Freud, all female went through the desire to have a penis during childhood. The idea was that a little girl thought that once she had a penis, and someone took it from her, and this created, and this is the psychological trauma that every woman got in her childhood. And the girl loves her father because he has a penis, and she rejects her mother because she does not have a penis. This is how enemies would describe Freud theory. And this explanation, of course, is not going to make you respect him or have a good opinion of him. Another highly criticized theory is his dreams interpretation theory. In his theory, he offers to look at your dreams as symbols, either penis or vagina. And basically interpretation is based on those two symbols. And yet people still say that he's the father of psychology because he was the first who was talking about the existence of the unconscious. Unconscious motivation, unconscious desire, and unconscious conflicts. And to make it simple, it's about to make it simple, it's not you who are making the decisions, it's your unconscious mind who does everything for you. And you have no idea of what or why do you think or make specific decisions in your life. Let's say you fall in love with a man and you're ready to get married. And if someone is asking you why, a woman can say something like, I love him, I like him, I'm ready to move to the next chapter of my life. He's smart, he's attractive, he has potential, I want to have kids with him, I can see myself with him for the rest of my life. And the Freud would say that even if this woman was honest and she is not lying, but still she has desires and motivations inside her unconscious mind that guide her and that make her go through this experience, and she is not even aware of it. And those hidden true desires might be because this guy reminds her father, or maybe she wants to get back on somebody who betrayed her, or she feels fear of loneliness and it's so huge, and marriage, kids, and family is a symbol for her, or is the situation that's gonna prevent her from this loneliness in the future. So those fears, feelings, and motivations are hidden from her in her unconscious mind. And the main Freud's idea was that people don't know their true desires. They don't know why they do this or another thing. And if you can see on this slide, on the image, the white part is what we understand, is what we know. It's like he's handsome, he's nice, I think he's a great man, we have same common values. And below, the big huge part of you that do not understand completely, not this part, this is the actual reasons why you're making this decision. And examples can be the following. Have you ever liked somebody without understanding why? For example, you've met someone and you don't know this person yet, but you like him already. Or maybe you can remember a situation where you did something, or you argument with somebody, or you said something, and then when you're thinking about this situation, you don't really know why did you do this, why you became so angry. Or maybe you had dreams and you cannot explain why you had those dreams, who are those people from your dreams, and why in your dream you did this or that. And Freud explains it. He is saying that our true desires, our true fears, and our true motivations are hidden from us, and we are not aware of them, and yet they control our lives. And all of this would be nice and would be fine if our unconscious mind would be smart and would be looking for our best interest. But according to Freud, it's not how it works. According to Freud, there are three elements, three processes that are going in your head and create internal conflicts. And you can ask a question, so who you are, how can you treat yourself, how can you understand yourself if anything is hidden in our unconscious mind. And let's talk about those three elements. And the elements are id, which is hidden in our unconscious. Then we have ego, and we have superego. And if you look at this image, this white line, this is the line between conscious and unconscious. And we also have the layer which is pre-conscious. So basically, conscious is what we know, what we understand. Unconscious and is what we don't know, completely don't understand, and these things are hidden from our awareness. And we have the layer in between, and those things that we can understand, they just beneath the surface of awareness. So when you come for therapy or when you come for self-development workshop, we usually work on this level. And the id, the biggest part of the iceberg, is present at birth. Id is our animal part. It wants to eat, drink, poop, get warm, and have sexual satisfaction. And it works on what Freud called the pleasure principles. It wants pleasure and wants it now. And according to Freud, a human is born as a pure id, the pure desire for pleasure. In reality, you can't always get what you want, right? We have a song like, you can't always get what you want. And as a result, we either planning how to satisfy our desire, or we are thinking how to suppress them, how to ignore them. And the system that helps us to suppress our desire or to satisfy our desire is called ego or self. And ego has a border with it, so it does connect with it. It has like a connection between the conscious and unconscious mind. And ego, there are biggest part of, not biggest, like let's say there are a big part of ego that we can understand, we know, we are aware of it, and there is some part that is hidden from us, but it's very close to our awareness level. And when we have like, oh, I got an insight, this usually insight comes from this lower part of ego. And ego works on reality principles. So it works on the principle of pleasure, and ego is all about the reality. And ego goal is either find the way how to satisfy the desires that we have in id, the hidden desires, or how to give up on them. And ego is part of our consciousness. This is what we think. This is what our logic. And the ego is the part that makes decisions. And basically, ego decides what, when, and how. And yet, it is controlled by the id. This is the algorithm. Ego decides what to do, and the true desires, the true motivation is hidden beneath it by id. And it's not ends here. Freud introduces the third component, which is superego. And on the picture is this part on the right side. And the superego is connected with ego and with id. And superego is simultaneously located on three levels. Conscious level, pre-conscious level, and unconscious level. So angel or little devil. Id is like a little devil, and superego is like a little angel who sits on our shoulder. And superego is our internal rules which were given to us by our parents So by the society, and it's basically what is wrong, what is right, the understanding what I should do, what I should not do, how should I behave, and how I should not behave. And the child is growing up and wants to satisfy his desires, but sometimes he gets punished for them. His desires might be inappropriate, or his actions might be wrong. For example, a child wants to poop, but he cannot do it. He has to wait. You cannot poop in your pants. Or a child wants an ice cream and he sees a girl with an ice cream. He wants to take it from her. But super ego, which at that time is a parent, saying, no, you should not behave this way. You should wait. You cannot take stuff from other people. And then within time, this super ego component becomes internalized, and now we hear our parents' voices, our teachers' voices, our society voices inside of us. And super ego is another part of our consciousness, something that we can realize, something we can control. We're aware of this super ego, of these norms and rules that we have. And super ego is like a little agent. It's like a teacher in school who is telling you what you should do and what you should not do. And ego, basically, when you have it on one shoulder and super ego on the other shoulder, your ego is in between. And ego does not know what to do, either to satisfy your desires or to follow the super ego rules. So ego has a very hard and difficult job. And the it says, I want to eat, have fun, and have sexual pleasure. And super ego is saying, you should be ashamed of yourself. This is disgusting. Stop doing it. And ego is like, oops, what should I do? And according to Freud, we don't even realize those processes, and we cannot control it. According to Freud, those processes are hidden from us, and it works like our internal organs, like kidney, heart, or stomach. We know about them, but we cannot really control them. And it is something that we have at our birth, and ego and super ego we develop in childhood. So the next biggest thing that Freud brought to the world of psychology is his psychosexual theory of human development. So the first part was about our hidden desires. And the second part is about how our ego was developed, how our super ego was developed, about the conflicts between the ego and super ego, and about 4 stages that every child, every one of us went through, and how those stages affected our adulthood. And he uses the term psychosexual stages. He believed the child's life is built around the concept of tension and pleasure. And he called pleasure as a libido energy. Too much tension, too much control, and we have a fixation. Fixation is his word, which means too much tension, basically. We all went through those stages, and if something went wrong, then we stuck in that stage. And fixation is when we had some stress, too much tension during a specific stage, and this fixation has a lasting effect in our childhood. I will try to explain a little bit in more easy terms. So each stage has some specific conflict that the child should resolve. And Freud believed that the first 5 years of our life is crucial to form our adult personality. And those 5, there are 5 stages which he offered to the world of psychology. And you can remember them by a phrase, old age parrots, live grapes. Old stands for oral stage. H stage for anal stage, when the person is going through the potty training. Parents stands for phallic stage. Love stands for latent period or latent stage, and grape stands for genital stage. And later Freud's follows expanded this theory, and I will share with you expanded version and also add my explanation, and we'll try to find the simple words to describe this complicated psychological theory. And when people come to the therapist, they want to understand themselves, and in order to understand ourselves, we have to go back to our childhood. And the first stage that Freud was talking about is the oral stage. He did not talk about the prenatal period. His theory starts from the oral stage. And oral stage, or oral fixation, or oral type of personality is formed at the age from 0 to 18 months, basically the first year and a half of baby's life. And the focus of libido, the part of the body where a baby receives the biggest pleasure, is mouth. The baby receives pleasure by sucking milk or by chewing objects. Taking out from the mother's breast too early can lead to serious problems later. A person might have problems with weight. All type of eating disorder forms here. Alcoholism, smoking, biting pencils. People with oral type of personality are trying to achieve satisfaction through their mouth. And because the child is completely dependent on his mother or his caretaker, this is the period when the baby develops a sense of trust and comfort. And the first emotional contact is a reciprocal smile which happens between first and second month of baby's life. Anxiety of losing mother develops at 7 months. So the baby at the earliest stage, before, like on the first or second month, he can treat basically any adult as his mother. But when he is about 6 to 7 months old, he can identify his mother, and he can experience stress and fear and anxiety if mother is leaving him for a long period of time. And long period of time is like a day, 2 days a week, or more than a week, right? A fear of strangers is formed at about 8 months old, and the child becomes extremely sensitive to develop any type of anxiety or fears or stress at 7 to 9 months old. So it's very important for mommy to be with her baby during the first 9 months of his life. And at this age, we form the following beliefs. The world is a safe place, or the world is a dangerous place, is not a safe place. And I cannot trust this world. My life is not safe. The second belief is that the world is an abundant place. I can get anything I want. The world has unlimited resources, or the world has limited resources, and I have to fight for those resources. It's not enough for everyone. And the third belief is I cannot trust people, or I can trust people. Basically, if my mom is always here for me, if she satisfies my desires, then I can trust other people. If the child was separated from his mother, then most likely he will develop a belief that I cannot trust other people, and he will have a trust issues later when he will try to create a relationship, loving romantic relationship in his life. Mother supposed to hold her baby while breastfeed or bottle feeding. This is also how baby develops his first fundamental ability to connect with other people, through connection with his mother. And as a result, again, if mother did not hold the baby, if he did not feel her body, then when the baby grows up, he might develop a trust issues, and he might struggle with creating a friendship and loving, caring, romantic relationship. This type of baby is gonna grow up into adult who will have difficulties of creating emotional deep contact with other people. He might become a victim of toxic relationship. He might end up in a relationship with a narcissistic person, and he might feel himself as a victim and be aggressive towards other people. The fixation on this stage, basically when the baby did not receive enough milk, when the baby had a problem with sucking a mother nipple, or when mother did not generate enough milk, or maybe maybe mother did generate enough milk but baby had the problem with the sucking it, or maybe if he didn't have enough milk and he had to be aggressive and suck harder, or maybe the mother was not holding the baby. All of those things will create an oral fixation. And oral fixation is a term which will lead to oral type of personality. Oral fixation means that a child had too much tension, too much stress, too much anxiety at this period in his life. And let's talk a little bit about the oral type of personality. And we can divide people in two groups, people with this type of personality, and it can be passive dependency or aggression personality. Passive dependency is smoking or any type of oral fixation, oral addiction, alcohol, gum, biting nails, biting any pencils, like any type of fixation which we have around the mouth. Eating disorder, overeating or not eating enough. And we will talk about eating disorders and eating mechanism on next Thursday, next webinar, which is called Overeating and the Inner Child. This is all about the oral type of personality. If you cannot control the amount of food that you eat, if you go into the refrigerator and cannot stop yourself, then please come to the next webinar. I will tell you about 8 reasons why people do this. We're going to talk about this specific fixation in details. Passive dependency also can be we can see it as a love addiction. People who end up in toxic relationship, the victim behavior, dependent relationship, where the person depend on other person, relationship with a narcissist, and long distance relationship. Unrequited love also is here. And the second type of oral personality is aggressive behavior, aggressive dependency. And is when a child was sucking mommy's nipple and did not get enough milk, or the milk was not fat enough, did not have enough minerals or vitamins, right? So a baby became angry and aggressive. And the child develops the belief system that in order for me to get what I want, in order for me to survive, basically, not just to get what I want milk, I need milk in order to survive. So in order for me to survive, I must be aggressive. I must be aggressive to achieve my goals. I must be aggressive to get from one destination to B, from destination A to B. Examples: a person who creates fights out of anything. A person who likes to eat meat on a bone, like chicken wings with the bone, chips, any type of hard food, nuts, chewing gums. It's like aggressive type of behavior of movement, aggressive movement, like meat from the bone. A person who likes aggressive sport like MMA, boxing, wrestling, because the oral type of personality is based on the contact between mother and the child, and if mother was not holding the child, as a result we have a person who wants to have in close contact, aggressive close contact, and this is your martial arts, right? MMA, boxing, wrestling, close aggressive contact, aggressive type of personality. Another example, a person who bites his nails or bites pencils, a person who has desires of fighting, of argumenting, person who likes to argument, a person who uses sarcasm a lot, offensive jokes. It's like biting with your words, with your mouth, biting, sarcasm. And a person who likes to use others to meet his own needs. And again, on the online training, the third week, we're gonna talk about parents' love as a foundation for a happy life. And again, we're gonna do the meditation, right? The child wants to be protected, to be loved, and to be happy. We're gonna talk about the divine parents and exercise the divine parents, and how important is it to feel that your life and you are important for your parents. And we're gonna do an exercise where you can actually feel that and you can experience that feeling. And it's gonna be the foundation for your inner child, the foundation for healing your childhood trauma. And we're gonna do the exercise, the divine egg, and you will be able to reborn, to go and experience these feelings of new life. And you're gonna reborn into the world, which is an abundant, loving, supportive place. Unfortunately, I have to stop at this moment because I prepared too many slides. I will give you some a little bit more information about the training, and I will have to do additional day. Probably it's gonna be Tuesday 9 a.m. where we are gonna continue talking about stages, and we're gonna talk about the anal type of personality, and then we're gonna talk about the anal aggression. Actually, let's talk about this right now, and then we're gonna let me see how many slides they have. Okay, let's talk about this one for another 10 minutes, and then we're gonna do pause, and we will continue on Tuesday at 9 a.m. So the anal stage, or anal type of personality, we go through this stage when we went through this stage when we were like between 1.5 and 3 years old. And the focus of libido, and again, this is the part of the body where child receives the biggest pleasure is anus. And the child must learn how to control his bodily needs, the ability to control his body. And this stage is where the child develops a sense of control, a sense of accomplishment, and independence. If the child went through the stage successfully, then he grows up into a competent adult, a person with good self-esteem, a person who can control himself, a person who can control his life, a person who can control money, a person who can create goals, and a person who is successful financially. And people who had fixation on this stage, and fixation is formed when parents were too controlling, when parents did not reward the child for learning how to use a potty. Those people develop anal type of personality. And children who had problems with the constipation or diarrhea might develop two types of personality. It can be an obsessive controlling behavior or a person with a messy type of personality, a person who cannot be in charge of anything. So there are two opposite types of personality. And obsessive controlling behavior is the fixation on holding feces. When the person had too much stress, a child had too much stress, too much fixation, too much tension on holding his feces. When the child was trying so hard to hold his feces in order not to poop into his pants. And as an adult, we might see a person who wants to control everything. Everything should be on its place, on its order. A person with OCD personality disorder, a person who has a spotless house, a woman who has a spotless kitchen, everything is organized in her kitchen, a person with a spotless office, a woman with a spot, or a man with a perfect closet where clothing is sorted by type and color. A person who likes to be in control, who never late, and he might actually get angry if he is late. He will feel shame, and he is not okay when other people are late. He's gonna judge other people for being late. Here we're gonna have a person who spends money only on necessary things, who likes to save money, and he might even have a hard time of spending money on himself. He will not buy expensive stuff because it's waste of money unless it's absolutely necessary. And here we're also gonna have a good girl syndrome or good boy syndrome. It's desire to be perfect, desire to be good, desire to be the best in everything, and the person who is gonna intellectualize and rationalize his decisions, his life, and this person is not gonna be any. These people are not usually creative people because they have to block the creativity. Creativity is when you let things go the way they are, you open and you have no expectations. Then you create new things like an artist or musician or a dancer. And those people, they are always in control. They cannot just relax and let things go. And another type of anal personality is an opposite, a messy person, a person who cannot be in charge or who hate to be in charge. And also the fixation, fixation means tension, right? Fixation was on this potty training stage. When the person was fixated on letting go of his feces. And as an adult, we see a person who cannot save money, a shopaholic, a people who always in debt, or people who can barely survive between salaries. We might have a person who struggles with planning his life, planning in advance his family vacations, holidays, parties, a person who cannot organize things, a person who cannot keep his word, who will change his opinion often, a person with a super messy closet, who has a messy car, a complete mess in his car, and women who have mess in their purses. And this fixation, it can be deep or it can be shallow. So maybe you are a well-organized person at work, but when you come home, your home is a mess. So it means that you had fixation on this stage, but it did not affect all your life because your super ego is super strong, and it's saying you should not be messy at work. At work, you should be nice and organized. But because you had a fixation on this stage, at home, you are a total mess. And again, during the healing the inner child workshop, we're gonna work on transformation of those feelings we're gonna transform the fixation. We're gonna heal this fixation, and it's gonna be an exercise, a toad in a swamp, and we're gonna release your hidden aggression, because fixation is always about aggression. I will talk about it a little bit later. And we're gonna learn how to release your aggression and how to overcome all those shoulda, woulda, coulda, I have to, I must to, and allow yourself to desire what you want, allow yourself to accept your body and to love yourself, to love your body. And we're gonna do an exercise which is called I Can. And we're gonna talk about the ability to be the boss of your own life and to live by your own rules and be responsible for the decisions that you make. And anal aggression. The anal aggression. Aggression can be formed when a toddler has too much tension, too much stress during potty training. When he cannot hold his feces, or he cannot release his feces, he becomes angry. And the fixation on this stage can lead to masochism. And the masochism is the mechanism of enduring a pain, or sadism. And sadism is an uncontrolled desire to cause pain to other person or an animal. And here again, a person can develop two types of fixation. It can be squandering or savings. And the person often feel angry with himself for that, for being too controlling, or for being squander. And behind this aggression is the aggression on parents. For example, a child gets angry when a parent says something like this: until you poop, you're not gonna play. Until you poop, you're not gonna watch TV. No devices until you finish pooping. Or if the child pooping his pants, a parent might say something like, shame on you, you are a big boy. Why can't you learn how to use potty? And the mother or father is shaming his child, and the child feels angry, but he cannot feel angry towards his parent, so he feels angry towards himself. So this is inner aggression. And because he cannot feel angry towards his parent, another way he's gonna be angry towards other people. Again, a child might be quiet at home, but when he goes to school, he might become violent, because this anger that he feels inside, he cannot release it to parents, he's gonna release it to other people. And as a result, we might have an angry person, or a person who is always looking for permission, for advice. For example, a woman who constantly calls her husband, her parent, her girlfriend, and she has to discuss every decision that she is making. In reality, this type of woman or this type of person is looking for a permission. She is afraid to make her own decision. So she is looking for parental permission, for a parent who is gonna support her, and she did not have it in her childhood, so she is going to replay this this scenario in her adult life. A person develops self-criticism and negative self-talk, inner aggression. If the child was not able to release this aggression on other kids or on other people, he's gonna be angry, and it's gonna be inner aggression, hidden inner aggression, self-criticism and negative talk. And fixation on this stage can also lead to sexual problems. Because sex involves different smells, fluids, sounds, In order to experience an orgasm, you have to relax, you have to let go of your guards, you have to allow all those smells, fluids, and sounds to be part of your sex life. And the person, he either cannot allow it, he is in control, he cannot relax, or the person is afraid. If it's a woman, she might be afraid of that the person will think something bad about her, or she's gonna be judged, and she will be tense. And if she's tense, then she cannot have orgasm. And I would like to invite you again to the 8 weeks of online training, where we're gonna work with the aggression, and we're gonna do an exercise that's called 4 ways to respond to rudeness. And I will share with you 4 options, 4 ways how you can talk to rude people, and I will explain which way is working in which situation, and I will share with you specific phrases that you can use if somebody is talking in a rude way to you, or somebody is crossing your boundaries. And we're also gonna talk about inner fears, hidden inner fears, and hidden anxieties. And we're gonna do an exercise that's called meeting your inner monster, and you will have an opportunity to meet your inner monster in order to feed him, in order to calm him down. So you're not gonna feel so anxious, so stressful in your real life. Then we're gonna do the meditation, which is called the source of my strength, and I will show you, I will teach you how to open your internal channel, internal source of your strength and abundance. And we're gonna do an amazing exercise which called overcoming the fear of great spider. And a spider is a symbol of kids, of children's fear, of children's anxiety, and we're gonna do an exercise that will help you to overcome this fear and leave all your fears in your past. And next time we're gonna talk on Tuesday, it's gonna be additional webinar. We're gonna talk about the phallic stage and about triangle relationship and different type of emotionally unavailable relationship with emotionally unavailable person. And I will go briefly about other stages that goes after the phallic stage. And we're gonna talk about who is healthy, mature, aware person. How can you know that you are healthy? And I would like to invite you to the online training, and if you click on the link below this video, you can see the program of the training. You can see the topics, and I offer 4 ways to participate, and you can see the prices on the screen. You can also read about different ways on my website, and I recommend to take the premium package, and inside premium or VIP package. And we're gonna meet once a week online. We're gonna do exercise, and we're gonna work within 2 months, so you can actually heal and connect with your inner child. And I offer discounts and offers and special offers, and if you register today or within the next 2 days, you will receive 15% discount. You can also invite your friends, and both of you will get 25% off. And if you share this video or the link to this training on your social media, you will get 5% for each link that you share. Okay, I am gonna be happy to see you next Tuesday at my alarm is ringing. Next Tuesday at 8 a.m. Los Angeles time, Pacific time. And we will continue this webinar, and I will be answering your questions at the end of the webinar. So please join me. It's going to be next Tuesday at 9 a.m. and next Thursday again at 9 a.m. We're going to talk about eating problem, overeating problem, extra weight, and the inner child. Again, my name is Elena Semenek, and this is Psychology of Happiness, where happiness is the purpose of life. If you want to change your life, if you want to be happier, more successful, have more joy, and create love and healthy relationship, you're in the right place. I welcome you to my channel, and I will be happy to see you on my next webinars. Okay, bye bye. See you next time.